Stumbling home, we don't know where we're going. Should've turned back hours ago. Out of our minds, I guess we're sleeping outside. You're still a good time, even in the cold.
Hello, welcome to Defender Adventure. We are Paul and Chrissy from the UK, and with our Land Rover Defender that we have called Sterling, we are travelling the world.
Guess we need a new plan. There's a motel a mile down the road.
Before we left the UK, we had made a basic plan to cross Canada, get to Alaska in May, leave Alaska sometime in September, and be in Yellowstone National Park by mid-October. Having successfully completed our initial plan, we were free to wander as we wished until our flights back to the UK in early December. Leaving the beauty of Wyoming behind, we crossed the state border into Nebraska, travelling from the west to the Midwest, and found that the scenery wasn't quite so interesting. We had a great week with Chris and Cherie, but it was soon over and we were back on the road again.
But as always, we wanted to make the most of our journey, and so we dropped onto this famous road. The road we are driving on here is the original Route 66. Only a few miles from the Arcadia barn is Pop's 66, a gas station with a 66-foot tall soda bottle outside and hundreds of smaller soda bottles inside. Of course, we had to give them a try. And going more by the colour than anything else, I picked brown and Chrissy picked blue, as it matched her outfit. I'm not sure that either of us were very impressed. Crossing from Oklahoma into the top hat of Texas, the first small town that we came to was Shamrock. The main tourist attraction here is Tower Station and You Drop In Cafe, an Art Deco structure from the 1930s which, if you are young like me, you may recognise as Ramon's Body Shop in Radiator Springs from the Disney movie Cars. Pausing briefly to view other Route 66 landmarks, and cotton being picked and transported, we passed through the well-known town of Amarillo and then came across something a little weird. please don't ask what's going on here. We're as much in the dark as you are.
Our journey finally brought us to New Mexico, and in particular the town of Tucumcari. We arrived late in the evening and went to bed, hoping to wake to some sunshine and warmth. But no such luck. It was freezing, literally. This was not the weather we wanted, so we decided to head south. Not sure where, just south.
After a few hours of driving, it looked like our decision to head south had paid dividends. Some sunshine at last. A quick study of the map, and we saw that the next decent-sized town in the direction we were headed was Roswell, a town about which we knew nothing. While looking at the route to Roswell, we noticed that a short off-road detour would take us to Fort Sumner, which, so the map said, was the location of the grave of Billy the Kid. Now that was a name we had heard of. The off-road trail was a muddy, sandy combo, yet the going was surprisingly good. The track took us progressively away from any civilization and into wide open spaces, which held a certain kind of beauty. The going became a little more sticky in places, but the only real obstacle in our progress was a gate that got the better of my co-pilot. She's such a delicate flower. Arriving at the Fort Sumner Cemetery, we took some time to learn about the outlaw whose grave we had come to see. I know he was an outlaw, but for all his fame, it feels like his grave should be a little more significant. Finishing our journey, we arrived in Roswell and were a little surprised to see green aliens dotted throughout the town. We learnt that Roswell gained fame as the site of an alleged 1947 UFO crash. As it was such a long time ago, we felt sure we wouldn't be in any danger of being taken away by little green men.
Located only a few miles from Roswell was Bitter Lake, a national wildlife refuge. While there were a number of bird species to be seen, the vast majority of the birds were either sandhill cranes, or snow geese. A wonderful afternoon at the refuge was rounded off with a wonderful sunset. Our short stay in Roswell was soon over, but we did now have a plan. Our plan was to explore New Mexico by travelling a backcountry trail from the south of the state to the north, with branches off to explore various places of interest. Our starting point was the Lincoln National Forest, and more specifically Dog Canyon. This is a wide canyon that runs south to the Guadalupe Mountains. The very end of the canyon crosses the state border into Texas. And it is here that Dog Canyon Campground is located. The campground was in a wonderful setting, and we pretty much had the place to ourselves. Once we set up camp, we decided on a hike to get our bearings. We took a trail called Bush Mountain Trail. Some of the wildlife we came across was friendly enough, but the majority of flora and fauna was a little intimidating. But not threatening enough to make us leave this beautiful area.
When we started recording our trip, neither Chrissy and I felt really comfortable in front of the camera. So we stumbled on the idea of Sterling, our vehicle, being the voice behind the videos. Unfortunately, we were unable to find a voice that we felt really suited Sterling, hence the reason for remaking these videos. However, this clip makes us chuckle each time we watch it.
The campground had a short nature walk and a ranger's office where you could... Oh my God, what is he doing? I am so sorry. Oh, that's all right then. It's just one of the interactive features by the ranger's office.
We woke the next morning to a change in the weather. So at the first break in the rain, we packed up camp and moved on. We travelled north to Artesia and then west to the town of Alamogordo, where we would spend a couple of days exploring the area. Our first morning was spent hiking near Cloud Croft at a slightly higher elevation. We followed the Salado Canyon Trail, a track on the old cloud climbing railroad bed. And then, in the afternoon, we drove a little further north to the Three Rivers petroglyph sites to see rock carvings from over 600 years ago. There were supposedly around 20,000 petroglyphs in this area, with a concentration on this rocky mound.
The next morning, we planned to move further south, but not before a quick visit to a nearby pistachio farm that we had passed the previous day. The farm was easy to find again, given that there was a giant pistachio by the roadside. We took the tour and left with a little sample. With nuts in hand, we drove around 60 miles south to the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument and the Aguirre Spring Campground. The campground was set on the side of a hill, meaning that each site had a pretty good view over the Tularosa Basin. We spent a couple of days here, with our first full day taking a hike, picking up the trailhead only a short distance from our campsite. And after heeding the warning at the trailhead, we spent the next 3 to 4 hours enjoying the views and the fall colours. The following morning, we drove the short distance to White Sands National Park. Originally a national monument, established in 1933 by President Herbert Hoover, it was then redesignated as a national park in 2019 by another Herbert, Donald Trump. It was a very beautiful place and we had a lot of fun exploring the park.
It was soon time to head north again, but before we did, we just wanted to head to the other side of the Organ Mountains to the Dripping Springs National Area, where we could take a short hike along the Dripping Springs Trail. At the end of the trail, there were ruins of an old desert mountain camp, where in its heyday, guests would have arrived by horse and carriage. The Dripping Springs, after which the area was named, was just that, dripping. Along the hike, we met a couple of critters. This, a small furry one, and this, even smaller, hairier one.
With the hike under our belt, we drove north towards a town called Truth or Consequences, or T or C as it is known locally. From TLC, we would join the backcountry discovery route and follow the trail into the Gila National Forest, from where all of our latest plans would have to be changed again. But that is for our next video. So thanks for watching.
See you soon.